ఉషోదయం ఛానల్కు స్వాగతం.
Ramayanam Part 8. Life in Chitrakuta continued peacefully as before. "I'm very happy here, Rama," said Sita one day. "Life is so simple, so uncomplicated. We have learned so much about trees and flowers and fruits. We have learned to respect the earth for all that she gives us. This is not what we would have learned in the city." "Well, your mother, the earth, has certainly given you some fine ornaments," smiled Rama as he slipped a bracelet of flowers onto Sita's slim wrist. "These delicate flowers suit you, my dear. But I worry about one thing," Sita went on. "Why do you need your weapons here, Rama? We live as ascetics. We have no need of bows and arrows and swords and shields. The birds and the animals are our friends. There are no dangers here in Chitrakuta. I fear that your weapons will bring violence to us, that you will use them because you have them with you. When we return to the city and you are the king, you can arm yourself again as a warrior, and a king must. For now, why don't you put them away?" "If only it were that simple, sweet Sita," Rama sighed. "I carry weapons not to protect myself, but to protect others, those who need help, and those who are weak and cannot protect themselves. Sometimes violence is necessary, if you're doing the right thing. That is the code of the warrior, and I must abide by it. It was the dharma into which I was born, and I must uphold it, wherever I am, whether in the forest or in the city. Besides, I have promised the sages who live in this region that I will protect them from Rakshasas and other wicked creatures. I must keep my weapons sharp and well tended. But don't worry, I know that you will never let me lift my bow without good reason." As Rama and Sita and Lakshmana wandered through the pleasant meadows and groves of Chitrakuta, they reached the settlement of the great sage Agastya. He was also known as Kumbhayuna because he had been born from a pot. Agastya was pleased to see Rama and blessed him. "I have been waiting for you, Rama," he said. "I have weapons that I must give you. These weapons, this great jewel-studded bow, this inexhaustible quiver of arrows, this gleaming sword, these are from the gods. Use them against enemies, Rama, not against anyone else." Rama looked at Sita as he accepted the weapons as he smiled, knowing that Rama had already considered what sage was telling him to do. "You should go further, Rama," advised the sage. "To fulfill the spirit of your promise to your father, you need to go far from the human settlements." And so the three of them traveled onward deeper into the dreaded Dandaka forest. All of a sudden they heard a mighty roar, so inhuman that it made their hair stand on end. "Get behind me, Sita!" cried Lakshmana as he reached for arrows from his quiver. Almost before they could move, a gigantic creature crashed through the trees and charged towards them. He was dressed in animal skins that dripped with blood and fat. The vicious-looking spears had the heads of elephants and tigers and wild boar impaled upon them. He swatted Lakshmana aside if he were a fly, and in a trice he grabbed Sita and placed her on his broad hip. "I can't bear Sita being touched by any one," shouted Rama as he blazed with anger and let fly a rain of arrows. Lakshmana recovered and moved into attack the creature with his sword. All you could see were the golden tips of the arrows that flashed like lightning through the clouds of dust traced by the brothers as they weaved and ducked, attacking from all sides. It was not long before they had cut off the creature's massive arms. His body crashed to the floor, and Sita, almost dead with fright, found herself safe with Rama again. The brothers carried Sita away from where the great creature had fallen, and when they were a good distance away they sat down and caught their breath. "These are the dangers of forest," Lakshmana said Rama quietly. "I wish we had not brought Sita with us. We have been safe so far, close to where the sages live. But we go into this dark place, we will face more and more ghastly creatures. How are we going to protect this delicate princess?" "Never fear, brother," said Lakshmana. "I am by your side. Nothing will happen to you or to your wife. I will keep my weapons in better shape than before. Now we have to find a secure place to build our hut and settle down." They walked further, cautious and alert, seeking out a place that would be sheltered, and also followed them to monitor all the directions. In the case they were attacked again, they had all been shaken by the violent encounter. But Rama put on a cheerful face as he tried to keep Sita distracted. He talked about the little home they would build and teased her gently as she continued to tremble at the memory of being held by the monster. Before sundown that day, they had found a peaceful spot to build their hut. It was not too far away from the river, but far enough from the dense forest. There was an area in front of where Sita could grow her plants and feed the deer and squirrels and birds that always came to her. Plus, the hut stood on higher ground, so Rama and Lakshmana could keep a watch over the area. Although Panchavati was beautiful and serene, the sense of danger continued to hang in the air, and the brothers thought it best to be on their guard. Lakshmana polished and sharpened their weapons every morning. The sword's blades gleamed like silver moonlight, and the tips of the arrows were as yellow bright as the sun. These weapons lit up the corner of the hut where they were stored.